folks, Andy here from McDowall Manor. Today I thought we might talk about garbage. Just have a little chat about garbage. It's no surprise, I guess, with a quick thought that how well our plants grow is entirely reliant on the soil that they're planted in and the degree to which we can get the organics and the nutrient balance up in the soil. So, of course, what most of us do these days is compost. And I thought we'd have a little chat about the composting that happens here at the manor and show you a bit of the silly nonsense that I get up to here. So tucked away under the sink here at the manor, we've got two bins. One's for packaging, plastics, stuff that you wouldn't bother to compost. And the other's our little organic compost bin. So let's have a look and see what's in there, shall we? Oh, what a find! Alright, the first thing we've got, well, there's a couple of things I'll talk about. Over there, that's the seed component out of a pepper, or a capsicum as we call them. So ordinarily I'd use those seeds. What happens though is as it turns out, I've got a ton of capsicum plants planted in the aquaponics, so I'm not going to bother. That can go in the compost. You know, if it comes up as volunteers, so be it. The next thing is our coffee grounds. Now, I love coffee grounds because they're full of nitrogen and you can pretty much use them straight away, so I'll show you how we do that, eh? Okay, now this is pretty technical, so you'll have to bear with me. You ready? You pick it up and you tip the ground straight in the garden. There you go, look at that. Swamp them down a bit if you want, but you don't need to. And that's it, like I say, full of nitrogen. I use them straight in. I don't waste the filter papers. I actually use them to cover up my worm farm, and the wormies love them. Okay, we've got some eggshells, banana peels. Oh, looks like strawberry bottoms in there. Oh, great. I'll show you what happens with them, eh? There's what I'd describe probably as the prime pickings out of the compost. I've chopped the banana peels up because they're pretty fibrous and they run a risk of blocking up my blender. Otherwise, I've just thrown it all in. We're going to give it a good whiz. Hold that little fella down. The remnants of the prime pickings. A bit disappointed that I didn't have any sort of, you know, old manky greens like lettuce leaves or something. They would have went to the chooks, but not to worry. Everything goes for a good purpose over here. So we're at the back here in Compost Corner. You're looking at the worm farm. There's the worm juice tap on the front. And here's what we use those blended up scraps for. Geez, I don't even really have to dig, I don't think. There's Bobby playing with Lucy through the fence. But anyway, so hopefully you can see. Damn, there's plenty of worms in there, guys. Alright, so I'm just going to put the scraps blendings in, and I'll cover them with those spare coffee papers that you saw before. Bob's your uncle on the worm farm front. So that noise you can probably hear, there's a couple you can hear, but that dripping noise is I rinse out the blender to get the last of the scraps out. That'll be the water dripping through down into the bottom. So that worm juice, I'll even show you what we do with the worm juice in a sec. Rinsed blender bottom, hence the dripping of the worm juice, which would come out of that tap and go straight over here beside the worm farm. We've got our compost tea, which is just a bin with an little fish tank aerator in it. Now the worm juice goes in there, and I also, when I clean the filters, the sponge filters in my aquaponics system, all of that good gear goes in there as well. That's a magnificent brew. Occasionally I'll throw a bit of horse poo in, maybe some of the normal compost out of the other side compost bins, but at the moment with the fish filters particularly and the worm juice, it's going pretty well and I don't seem to have to add too much. So we're on the way back inside with that blender, and I thought I'd better stop at Palazzo de Poulet to show you what we do with all our junk mail and newspapers. So part of it's shredded up for in the nesting area. Oh look, you can see there's some sitting there waiting to be used, and a lot of it's just used on the bottom. Make sure it stays clean in there. My Rosie does a fantastic job of looking after all that. Get on your Dale. So as you can see, we've used the bulk of it. Let's see what we do with this last little bit here. So we'll have a wander up the little dog's yard. There's Bob, good on you Bob. And here's our compost bins. And you can see what happens to the last of it all, including dry leaves and stuff that I find around the place. I've got in fact 3 of those bins. There's another one up there. They've got holes drilled in the sides and the top, and periodically I mix in some horse poo, which I get locally, and that goes in the garden. So hopefully you've enjoyed our little chat about garbage, folks. Now this is a tightly guarded secret, so don't tell my Rosie. But you will have noticed that there's tissues and stuff in there. They're great in compost too. I just don't let Rosie see me do it. I pick them out and throw them in periodically in the bins up the side. So you can see out of a whole lot of rubbish, all we will in fact have is one little resealable plastic bag. Alright, thanks for watching folks, and we'll catch you next time, eh? Better mention meat scraps. That's right, Bobby. We don't waste any meat scraps here, do we, love? No way, Dada.